Well, hello everyone. Let me make sure that we are doing okay and that this is actually started and playing. How's everybody doing tonight? It looks like it might not be working. Uh-oh. It's not working, boo. Hello everybody. It's not working. There we go. We're trailing behind a little bit there. How's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully we are doing okay. It looks like maybe the live event is trailing just a little bit, but we have about 20 folks here. So if we are behind on the live stream, then just forgive me. It's good to see everybody. Crazy Navy Vet Hikes, it's so good to see you, and you are making your way down the trail here. For those of you who don't know, he is on his through hike and had a really good experience with one of the backpack makers when his backpack failed. So Crazy Navy Vet Hikes, be sure you share the name of that company here. They took really good care of him when his backpack failed in Lake City. And so keep making your way down the trail. It's great to see you here. Christina Hikes and Stuff, welcome as well. We're going to start up. This is going to basically keep going for the next hour and a half or so. But I want to start with just a little bit of some background here to the project and tell you a little bit about sort of what's going on. And we can't start really without mentioning the Colorado Nonprofit Development Center. And this is an organization out of Denver, and they've just been really, really helpful in this whole process. And basically what happened is when I started this project, I reached out to the CNDC and asked if they would be the sponsor for the project. So basically I would do the project under the umbrella of the CNDC. And that way, if you all contributed any funds, then it would all be tax deductible. Just as a note as well, that this has been, this project, it benefits the Colorado Nonprofit Development Center in a number of different ways. But I'd encourage you all to check out their website at cndc.org. And they do a lot of great work, and they sponsor a ton of projects in the greater Denver and Colorado area. And so I'd really encourage you all to check that out. Now, the CNDC helps sort of get this project off the ground. And what happened from there is I started doing a lot of this sort of fundraising and reaching out to different organizations. So you're going to get to see some folks from different organizations who have been really supportive of the project. And I also want to take a minute and just say, one of my favorite parts of this whole process was knowing what I know about the Colorado Trail community. I felt really confident that the community would come together and be supportive in a number of different ways. And I don't mean just financially, although there have been a lot of folks who have been more than generous financially. But what's been really great is to see the community come together like I knew it would, specifically with people reaching out to me and saying, helping out, offering to help me along the way. I've had people who've offered me gear. I had a really important tiny piece of gear this morning passed over to me from Elderberry Lynn, who shared that with me. And then getting to see all of the different folks here in the chat, that just makes, it really is the whole reason I fell in love with the trail to begin with. So it's good to see you all. Ruth, Triduty, Gresky, great to see you. Rolf, I'm really thrilled to see you here. I know that you are, we're hoping to be on the JMT this year, so I'm so very sorry that didn't happen for you. But next year, I'm sure you're going to be out there. It'll be great. Melissa, great to see you as well. So basically, here's what's going to happen tonight is we're going to go through a pile of gear, and I'm going to show you all of this great gear that I have and kind of give you a picture of what I'm taking and what it involves, some of the history of it. We found some really great pieces of history. Quite literally pieces of backpacking history in this process. Now, in this process as well, I learned quite a bit about sort of where gear was in the early 70s. And that's one of my favorite parts of the sort of research part of the process, because what I discovered is, backpacking gear had this sort of boom day in the 70s for innovation. So you're going to see a lot of gear with some innovation that you wouldn't have believed sort of came out in the 70s, and some gear, some innovations I'm surprised didn't last, and some that I'm not at all surprised didn't last. And so we've got here, I've got my Vanna White over here. Details is she's going to be over here showing off the gear as we go through it. And then throughout the course of the evening as well, as we go through this, we've got a number of different great prizes and giveaways that we're going to give away throughout the course of the evening. And it's just some fantastic stuff. So we're going to start with some all natural sunscreen, face cream, SPF 50, and some homemade bug repellent that smells incredible. We're going to bring Suchata in from Eco Everyday Durango, talk a little bit about that products or the products and the sort of partnership that we worked with. The last few weeks has been really productive. And so we'll talk about that. We've got a tent we're going to give away. We've got a couple of Bear canisters that Bear Vault was really generous in donating for this cause. Bear Vault, by the way, we'll talk a little bit about why I'm taking a Bear Vault. That's going to be a really important thing. We'll have Madelyn Meanders in. She is Colorado Trail class of 22, and I believe it's AT class of 21, a really experienced hiker, and she can talk a lot about why a Bear canister is important, as I'm sure some of the folks in the chat, like Calman there at Everyday Backpacker, could talk to all of you about why this gear is so important, especially on the CT. And sort of the irony is, I believe it's important we carry Bear canisters so that in the future we don't have to carry Bear canisters, or we're not going to be legally required to. So a lot of cool stuff there. So we've got some Bear canisters we're going to give away. We've got a copy of Audrey Payne's book, Where the Rhododendrons Bloom, about her hike of the Appalachian Trail as well. We've got some notebooks. We've got just a ton of really great stuff, and we've got the gear. So if you're a gear nut like me, it's going to be a great night for you. It's going to be a lot of fun as well. So we're going to start the Eco Everyday. We're going to bring in here, this is Suchata from Eco Everyday Durango. Hello, how are you?
Hi, good, great.
Great. So I want to tell a little bit of the story here, because one of the things that I think is important as we sort of talk over all of these different pieces of gear and different developments is I really want to highlight the sort of the human element of all of this. And what I mean by that is sort of how these products came into my possession, and sort of where that story comes from. So what happened here is I was following here I was following Eco Everyday Durango, and that's Suchata's Instagram handle. And she makes these really beautiful reels all in the Southwest Colorado, or a lot in the Southwest of Colorado. And I reached out and I said, look, I'd love to partner. Would this be something of interest? And I still remember the message you sent back was very short. It just said, happy to partner, with an exclamation point. And that led to a conversation or two about sort of what this partnership could look like. And it ended up being that you passed along a couple of products, and a couple of products, meaning a pair of each. And so Details over here has those. And so we'll give her, well, let me see if I can get this to where you are the featured person. There we go. That will work, right?
Maybe the products. Yeah, they'll work.
So tell us a little bit first about Eco Everyday. And then tell us a little bit about these two products, because these will be going with me on the trail. And I'm very excited. Specifically, both products, we talked a little bit about. The bug repellent is especially useful there in segment 9, the Holy Cross Wilderness, where it is notorious for bugs. And then segment 2 for the sun exposure, for the daily face cream, SPF 50. And I'll talk about it in a minute, but can you tell us a little bit about Eco Everyday Durango and sustainable goods and sort of the story there?
Yes. So Eco Everyday was developed by me for sustainable skincare products. All my products are not in plastic tubes. They are all in amber glass vials so that they hold the ingredients better and the oils don't break down through the. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to hold it closer here.
All right. So Durango Sustainable Goods is the vendor, the people that actually have my products. I launched my products there with Claire Atkinson. Her whole shop of eco-friendly, sustainable goods, fair trade. So it's kind of a unique store in Durango. And so I actually launched the product with her just to bring in the clients and bring in the new customers. But overall, I used to do skincare products for other companies. So I'm actually a chemist, a microbiologist, and a formulator. So we decided on a couple of different cool items that can be used every day, and they're multi-purpose and good for your skin. So I made this daily moisturizing cream with sunscreen so that it's multi-purpose, multi-use. It has non-nano zinc oxide, which is the larger particles, zinc oxide particles, so they don't actually go into your skin, and it stays on your skin a little bit longer. And another reason why I use non-nano zinc, of course you always have to stay with mineral sunscreens, is because it's reef friendly. So it doesn't break down and go into, the coral reefs and maybe hurt the coral, the marine life. So that's part of why I made it non-nano zinc. I also used things like cocoa butter and sunflower oil to just help your skin stay hydrated and soft. So it's kind of like a multi-use, everyday cream.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just as a note, so I know this is your product, but I love the face cream specifically because I put sunscreen on my little one every day before daycare, and my hands are greasy and gross, and it just is, it just doesn't feel good. But then you sent this and I put it on my face and there was no residue. It felt great. It had a great smell, but it wasn't strong. So it didn't feel like I was going to be catching whiffs of it all day long. It was terrific. So I really think that was, I'm excited, genuinely excited to be able to use that and keep my face. Full disclosure, I have a bad habit of not wearing sunscreen on my face sometimes because it bothers me so much. And so this is great because I'll be able to keep my face covered and protected. And especially now with the kids, I'm much more sensitive about sort of making sure I take care of myself and don't take unnecessary risks,
Yeah, so it's not oily, and it doesn't have that white cast, that little white powder that you get all over you. So it's also really easy to use, and it's for, it doesn't cover up the pores on your face.
Yep.
It's non-comedogenic. But we'll talk about the bug spray. And I don't really make bug spray. I made it really just for you.
Yeah, that was another piece here that was another thing that I loved is that we talked about it. You said, well, I can make you some bug spray. And it wasn't, I knew the products because before we had met, I looked over to see what might work well for the trip. And the bug spray, when I opened the box that you sent it, the box smelled like the bug spray. And it smelled terrific. It wasn't, again, not overpowering, not gross. It smelled like you described it as a backyard picnic, and I think that's fun.
It's a citronella, mostly citronella, like a citronella candle that you put outside. There she has it. And of course, you can see I put in the reusable canister. So if you want to make it, make your own, there it goes. Yeah. So I also, on one of my posts, I wrote down the ingredients. It's very simple to make, like witch hazel, distilled water, eucalyptus oil, citronella, and those are just drops of it. But it's great because you can also use it as a deodorant.
I'll be needing that by the end of tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. You may. I just talked to somebody that came off the trail yesterday. It was wild. She just came off and she said, the number one thing I really want is a deodorant. I said, well, you should probably make this bug spray.
That's dynamite.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This is, it genuinely is, it was perfect because you're in Durango. So there's a connection to the trail. The products are carefully curated to make sure they take care of the area. Small business. I really love that. And then also, I want to thank you for all of the support on Instagram, especially there's nobody who's been more supportive of this project in the social media sphere than you have. So I'm genuinely grateful for that. And I'm looking forward to sharing both the bug repellent and the face cream with a lucky winner here shortly.
Okay. Well, you're so welcome. This is a great mission.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you in Durango too.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Jared.
Absolutely. Well, stick around. Let's go ahead and do that giveaway here. So if you are interested in the giveaway, I probably should have mentioned this a moment ago. You will use hashtag 5050. So put that in the chat there, hashtag 5050, and that's how the drawing will know that you are interested in winning the face cream and the bug repellent. And you will be able to, you just need to put it in once and you'll be entered for the future drawings as well. But be sure you put that in there. We'll give it just a couple of minutes and let everybody go ahead and toss that one in there. And tell us a little bit. So as people are commenting 50/50 here, what other products are you most proud of there at Eco Everyday that people should check out that you think would be really good to take a peek at?
Okay, so I have a bundle where it's a toner, a vitamin C toner, and a vitamin C serum. So I really only have a 3-step process because I'm one of those people that just throw things on my face and go.
Yeah.
As you know, I'm sure you could tell by my posts, I don't do very much at all in terms of, I do take care of my face, but I think a lot of people spend too much time or using the wrong products. So my toner has a vitamin C, so it's a spray on mist. And then that comes with vitamin C face serum. Vitamin C helps produce more collagen. A lot of products out there say that they have collagen and all these wonderful ingredients, but what happens is it doesn't really absorb into your skin.
Yeah.
And, I see a lot of people just spend so much money on skincare products when they work a little bit, but over time they don't work because they have a lot of chemicals in them and they're not simple. So that becomes a bundle in the shop. And let's see what else I have. I also made some muscle salt, which really, some Dead Sea salt mixed with eucalyptus oil, basically. And then one of my best sellers is the healing salve, which is arnica and magnesium, because I also bike and run and do really hard things to my body. And the healing salve really does a great job. Yeah. So those are my main products. And then the other big seller is the caffeine eye serum. Cool. So, yeah. So it's really for both genders because everybody goes out, everybody gets hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and give away some of those. And I just want to say hi to a couple of folks here. We've got my Aunt Debbie in the audience here. So Aunt Debbie, thanks for showing up. This is a real treat to have you here. Josh Durham, he's a buddy of mine from college, and Whitney is here, and Rose V, just a great crew. And I know there are other folks in there. So hello to you too, Melissa and Triduty. Let's go ahead and give away the bug repellent and the face cream. Let me see if I can get this thing to work. I'm pretty terrible with tech. So let's see how it goes here. We've got 15 people who have entered, and it will go to Joshua Durham. Yep, that is great. Josh is a really close friend of mine from college. He has been just the most supportive friend of mine over the years, and surprisingly, because I've not always been the best person, and he has been supportive of me my whole entire life. So Josh, glad you've got that. We're going to get that puppy in the mail to you. And Suchata, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Really
grateful for your support, and I look forward to getting to meet you in person in Durango in hopefully 4 weeks or so.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you again. We'll see you later. All right. That one makes my day. Josh, it's good to, by the way, everybody, if you ever get to meet Josh, he does the absolute best Hank Hill impression. And it is, you got to hear it. I'm gonna have to record it for the channel at some point. So let's go ahead and start talking about some of this gear here. And I think we're going to start with the boots. So these are the boots that I'll be using. They are the Eddie Bauer K6 boots. They are boots that Eddie Bauer has been making since 1964. They have the Vibram sole. Those are what you would call the old waffle stompers. So they are really heavy. I've been doing my best to break them in. May or may not work well, but I have some Leukotape because I do anticipate quite a bit of blisters here. So that is that's going to be a mess if they do create some blisters for me, but very excited about them. They are, now some of the things to know about these is that the leather is pretty soft. They're not inexpensive, right? And to Melissa's point there, these are serious boots. And to full disclosure, I think these are one of the things that gives me the most anxiety about the trip, specifically because of the weight. So if you've watched my hikes in the past, I've been using a pair of Asics trail runners. They're inexpensive, but they're light is the thing. So I can I can wear them for a long time. Now, I do think, and this is something that Details has pointed out a number of different times, that the ankle support should hopefully compensate for quite a bit of the weight. But I am somewhat concerned that this may give me some issues with sort of knee pain. But we'll see how it goes. I've got some plans to sort of keep my IT band nice and stretched out, and we'll see how that goes as well. Now, those boots, a lot of people have memories of them. And when I first started backpacking, I thought, you know what, this is big boots, big hikes require big boots. Since I've changed my mind, but I genuinely am curious to see how those perform, because they were the industry standard for the longest time. Crazy Navy vet hikes. Can you try some bridge soles? I maybe if they give me a lot of trouble, I think I'm going to have to do that for sure. But we'll see how it goes. So I have a first 0-day setup in Breckenridge, and that'll give me a good opportunity to reevaluate and see how everything's doing as well. Patty Mo says hello. So you're and Try Duty as nicknames you Vanna White. So you are famous here. So let's go ahead and talk about the tent for a little bit. And the tent is an interesting piece. So this is a Hirsch Weiss tent. It's a 7133 DB. I'll show you what it looks like. It is canvas. And let me share with you all here what this looks like when it is set up. So this is the tent set up in the sunshine. It is small. And that is a really interesting sort of conundrum, because I'm not a tall person, but if you look here, peak to peak, so from here to here is about 5 feet. So I am 5'8", and obviously that's probably enough to fit in diagonally, but you can imagine where this pole goes down here, it will block up that sort of space. So I'm a little bit concerned about specifically windy rain, that kind of thing, but the tent itself seems bulletproof. It is very, very thick. It's your standard sort of canvas tent that you probably have seen a number of different times. And so we'll see how it goes. I also do have a backup plan, and this is kind of to Rolf's point here. He talks about a specific piece of gear causing absolute misery or outright danger. Will I substitute for a more modern alternative? Now, this is an interesting question, because Rolf, if you all know him, has done his own, he's had his own big adventures, and he is, he's got a great story on Backpacker Radio about his first big hike. So look up the Rolf Asfog. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm sorry, Rolf. Great episode about when he was a younger man, did a trip, and it was sort of this crazy adventure through the Southeast, carrying a big, heavy backpack. And here's what I have is, if a specific piece of gear is absolute misery, then I will adjust something. Now, my hope is to be able to replace it with something that will be still period correct. So for example, if that tent fails on me or it doesn't work well for me, then I have every intention of buying a canvas tarp that will be much larger, that I will be able to adjust and basically work with in such a way that it will still be period correct, but not as difficult or dangerous. Dangerous is really the issue here. Now, with the boots, I do have a plan. I'm not sure if it will work, but if I need to replace them, I'm going to go with a pair of Chuck Taylors. I'm going to try that out, because those would be period correct too, much lighter, but I don't anticipate it will come to that. We will see. But I do think that there will be some options for maybe swapping some things out, because this is really more about the spirit of the trip. I was talking today with Patty about how if I were to watch this film that will be a product of this trip, I would be very I would be very attentive, trying to pick apart every piece of gear and see what did and didn't exist back then. And that kind of ruins the spirit of this, that this is just, it's just the spirit of the hike. If it works, then great. If I need to adjust, then I will adjust, but hopefully stay within the spirit of the hike by sticking with that kind of gear. And that's kind of to Rod's point here about leukotape. I am taking leukotape. My understanding is that the kinesiology tape existed at that time. So I think it works. Now the adhesive might be different, but again, it's about the spirit of the hike. And to me, it's more important to be able to finish the hike and test out the gear than be sort of an absolute purist. And that's really the goal. But ultimately, I am hoping to stay within the spirit of the hike as much as possible. Am absolutely taking leukotape though, specifically because it would, I'm not doing duct tape specifically. That's why. I have seen a number of folks who I've given, leukotape to because they were using duct tape, and fortunately they were able to continue their hike as a result. Now let's talk a little bit here. Why don't we cut over to the ground sheet? This one, kind of in the spirit of the hike. My ground sheet is Tyvek. Now Tyvek is commonly used today. This is the one I was most conflicted about, Rod, to your question, and even to Rolf's question as well. I was very conflicted about this one because Tyvek existed in 1955, but Tyvek, I couldn't find a really great answer for when people started using Tyvek as a ground sheet. So I'm using it. It is a way that I can make sure that I'm able to stay on trail. It did exist back then. The question is whether or not the Tyvek is actually, if it's been used back then. Now, if there's anybody who has an old photo of their great uncle backpacking and sleeping on a sheet of Tyvek, then please do send that my way, because that would be really helpful to just have that in the hopper. I don't necessarily think it's cheating because it's there. But again, I also am going to avoid the idea of even thinking of it as cheating because it did exist, right? So let's talk here. I've got another just a killer cool piece of history that Patty is holding here. And I want to talk up Lakey for a little bit, because there were a few companies, Eco Everyday, Lakey, Feathered Friends, that we're going to talk about, Bear Vault, that I am sold on forever because they had a sense of fun and almost whimsy about the project. So I reached out to Sven at Lakey, and we talked a little bit about trekking poles. Now, trekking poles were not widely used in backpacking early in the 70s, but Lakey came out with the Makalu trekking poles in 1974. And what made the Makalu unique to trekking rather than a ski pole was that it had the telescoping feature and the locking mechanism. So 1974, Lakey came out with this product. And here's what they did at Lakey. So this is the part that's so cool. Lakey, when I reached out to them, they reached out to their European office. They talked to their American office. They had people checking their garages everywhere to try to find me a pair of actual 1974 Makalu trekking poles. When they couldn't track one down, which was already way more than I could have asked for them to do, when they couldn't find them, they went to eBay and found me a pair of Makalus that had the same material, the same lightweight aluminum and locking mechanism that the original ones did. So for the rest of my life, I will be a Lakey person because they put in that effort. They didn't have to. They did it all out of the generosity of their own time and effort. And so I love Lakey for that. And I really am grateful that they were able to send this. And I also think that it helps me avoid having to use the big, heavy walking stick here. So Tim here, he is a CT class of 22 as well. I think that's Tim. Is that the right person? And here, again, I was really impressed with them. I think they were one of the most responsive companies, just a really big company here. Jasper, great to see you. If you all don't follow Trail Name Jasper on YouTube as well, be sure to check them out. I'll give you a break here. Sorry. Thanks, Details. Check out Trail Name Jasper. He does a lot of really cool hikes in Europe, especially. There's some great ones over there. So he's got a really great channel if you're into some hiking and such. Definitely check out his channel as well. Backcountry Pilgrim, great to see you. Ruth, really great to see you as well. Ruth, I appreciate also your support. Just for a moment, let me pause here and say that one of the most humbling parts of this process is that the contributors to this project, there have been over 50 individuals who have given out of the generosity of their own heart and wallets and time and effort and energy. And Ruth, I really am grateful for your support. It's been multiple gifts from you, so I'm really grateful for that. I hope I'm not embarrassing you there. And it's really great to have that support. And also, talk about a great story. Somebody who started the trail one year, popped off trail, and then headed right back on trail and finished it up. So it's just really, really great. And also, if you see on the website, or if you see any really beautiful pictures of that Elk Creek drainage, that was taken by Ruth, and she shared with that. Let me use that image, actually the one on the thumbnail to this. She let me use that image because it's such a better picture than I could have taken. So Ruth, so grateful for your support and to just know you in general. So I'm really grateful for that. We've got some giveaways to do here. And so for that, let's take a minute and we're going to bring in Audrey Glowstick Payne. Audrey, welcome to the live stream. We are going to do a lot of giveaways while you're here. If you haven't entered already, go ahead and add in, go ahead and type in hashtag 5050. Audrey, tell us where you were today. You were out in the wilderness hiking and exploring and trekking. So talk to us a little bit about your adventures today.
I really was not out in the wilderness today. I just went to breakfast with my friend, and then we just walked around this local trail around some ponds out in Longmont, Colorado.
Okay.
But we saw a bear in a tree, so that was pretty cool.
That's why I thought it was a wilderness. It was a little bear sleeping.
Oh my gosh, we saw so many things actually, and it really wasn't even that far off the road. We saw a bear in a tree. We saw a monarch butterfly, which they're disappearing, so it always makes me so happy to see them. We saw some osprey babies. We saw a bunch of fish. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you see, especially in Colorado, anytime you see a bear is really super neat. So that was really cool to see. Now, give us a little bit of your hiking bio, because I think this is one of the more impressive. We were at the meetup last night, and I had said that you had gone to all these places, and then I said, "Where's your next trip?" And then you hit us with something even wilder than anywhere you've been before. So tell us a little bit about your hikes that you've done before, and then what's on the radar for you in the future. Uh-oh, did you freeze on us? Did I freeze on us? Can anybody confirm that I didn't freeze? There she is. There you are.
Okay, I can also see you, and you seem to be doing okay. Okay, so I hiked the Appalachian Trail in 2018. So that started my long distance hiking career and I wrote a book about it, which Jared is holding up right now as part of the giveaway. And I've gone on to hike a bunch of the shorter trails, like the Colorado Trail, the John Muir Trail, where I met Jared, the Foothills Trail in North and South Carolina, the Wonderland Trail in Washington State, the West Coast Trail on Vancouver Island in Canada, the O Circuit in Patagonia. I just went and did the Teton Crest Trail last weekend. And my next trip is going to be to Nepal this fall.
That's, yeah, just incredible. So many cool hikes and so much cool experience too. And so if you are not following, not you, Audrey, but if you in the audience are not following Audrey Adventures on YouTube or on Instagram, Audrey Payne, you need to, because I can't think of a person who has hiked more miles over more diverse landscapes than you. And so I very much recommend that. And I would also recommend that you pick up a copy of Where the Rhododendrons Bloom. Over 100 reviews on Amazon, that way up in the high 4s in terms of reviews, and just an incredible read. So I encourage you all to check this one out. Are you ready to give away a copy of it?
First of all, you're very kind. Second of all, let's give away that copy.
Let's do it. Here we go. All right. So we are going to share the screen. Let me see if I can do this again. Make sure I don't mess anything up. So where did my little giveaway screen go? Uh-oh. You know what? I made a mistake, everybody. It's going to take just a second. We're going to pull that giveaway. So Audrey, if you will talk us through the next minute or two, we will be in good shape. Tell us a little bit about Nepal. That's a great place to go. What, you decided not to do the classic circuit, and instead you're doing a different one.
Yeah, so I had a milestone birthday this year. So I was like, oh, I got to do something special, right? Yeah. And I used to, when I was in my 20s, I was going abroad all the time. I lived in a few places abroad, like South Korea and Australia. And so I really been wanting to do some more international traveling, because with COVID and everything, I just didn't do much for a while. until I went to Patagonia last year. So I really wanted to do something special this year. And so I decided ultimately on Nepal. And I was first thinking of doing the Annapurna circuit, which is definitely one of the more popular treks there. And I found out that something like, I can't confirm if this figure is true, but what I saw was that 2/3 of international visitors to Nepal do the Annapurna circuit.
Yep.
And I like a little more quiet than that. I don't like being around crowds. And so I was looking into hikes that were a little less busy. I wanted to do something, more on the outskirts. And so I ultimately decided on the Manaslu circuit, which is, it goes in the part of the country that borders Tibet.
Okay.
And it's definitely more out there. This trek has only been open to visitors since like 1991. And it's one of the less popular ones, but it does have tea houses along the way. So I'm not going to be camping. I'm going to be hiking from tea house to tea house, where I'll get a hot meal every night, able to get showers, able to get laundry. It's about 110 or 120 miles total.
Yeah.
And I've heard that if you're going to see a snow leopard anywhere in Nepal, it's out in this area, which obviously they're very elusive, probably won't see one, but it's my best chance. So fingers crossed.
Well, speaking of best chances, let's see who has the best chance of winning a copy of Where the Rhododendrons Bloom. So let's give away that book, and then we might even give away a couple other things while you're on. So who's it going to be? I feel like it's like the Wheel of Fortune. We need a big wheel that sort of spins around. My Aunt Debbie, terrific. Yeah, she's going to love this. She is definitely, if you're in my family, you're a reader. So that is terrific here. Congratulations. I will reach out to you and get your address for to mail that along to you. Let me type it in so that I don't forget here. Great. What should we give away next? What do you think? We've got any, I have my little notepad, everybody. What do you think? Oh yeah, let's give away a sticker or two. So this is one I came up with, Audrey, that this is one I came up with myself, and I was so very proud of it. It's a little bit silly, and that's my brand for sure. So it is a water bottle sticker, and it says, "Hello, my trail name is blank." And so,
I love that.
Yeah, so I was really excited about it, and so we're gonna give one of these bad boys away here. And let me share the screen again. Oh, it's already being shared. Can you believe that I'm this good at technology, everybody?
I want to hear people's trail names in the comments.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah. So put your trail names over there in the comments. And then speaking of trail names here, Tri-Duty is sort of a trail name, but this is, you met Mark on in VVR. So he was my hiking buddy out there. And so he is absolutely one of the best hiking buddies there is. And yeah, I'm really excited to have him there. And then Ruth is Sailor over there. And then where did my little notepad go? I had a notepad with everything here. All right, and let's do this one. Let's give away a couple of journals, and then we're going to bring in Madelyn Wrong Way in just a moment. So let me show you this, the journals that I made. These are my other little creations. I was really excited to be able to try to create these puppies here. So share the screen. There are two. We're going to give them away individually. So this one is a Joshua Tree inspired notebook. It's a journal. It has blank pages so you can draw and write notes and all sorts of other craziness. And then here, this is one of my favorites. It's an Everglades inspired cover for a notebook. So we're going to give away a couple of those real quick.
You created those?
Yeah, so there were, I took photos and then applied sort of some filters and such, and then put them in a whole different, it's not, the creativity was really in running it through the system through a couple of steps. So I can't claim full credit for everything, but yeah, it was one of those things that I thought would be really cool to try to do. Made a handful of them and ordered samples, and then the samples came in, and we were looking for all sorts of great giveaways and such. So we went with that, those two. So we're going to give away the Everglades one first. If you all don't know, the Everglades are a really special place for me. My brother Zach, who is in the crowd today, he and I used to do 1 week-long paddling trips in the Everglades every winter. And that jerk went off and got married, and then we both moved to different places, and we haven't been since. But we're going to have to get back out there. let's give away this this one. We've got some really cool trail names in the crowd there. I'm seeing here Dakota Rose. We've got Fireball. Fireball is one that I actually almost set somebody on fire, and so he's now Fireball. So that's Dave from Off Grid, and so yeah, I'm sorry, Dave. Everglades Journal is going to Melissa. So Melissa at Unlikely Hiker. So good to have you here. And we will get that off to you. And then let's draw again for the Joshua Tree one. I kind of hope this goes to Dave, actually, because he's been doing a ton of hiking out there in Joshua Tree. But I mean, I'm happy for it to go wherever. Rose, Dakota Rose. So J Tree to Dakota Rose.
Congratulations, both of you.
And I will get you instructions. If let me go ahead and do that real quick, and then let's get back to the gear in just a moment. How's that sound, everybody? Your phone is low power? Okay. Do you need the plug? All right. My Vanna White just informed me that her phone is low power, so we're not sure that she's going to be able to make it through the whole event over there. So we might have to pivot just a little bit here. And I was doing something. Oh, the notebook. So here we've given away the notebooks. If you do win a prize, by the way, send me your address to @backcountrychampion or backcountrychampion@gmail. That way I have your address. If I already know your address, then that's fine too. So you may, if I've already sent you something, I would already know. So be sure to let me know where to send those and we'll get them off to you. As you can imagine, there may be a slight delay on it because I will be off grid. So Patty's agreed graciously to send along some stuff, but hopefully we can get them to you sooner than later. Audrey, will you stick around? Do you have time? Would you like to hang out with Madelyn Wrong Way?
Some time.
Great. Yeah. So Wrong Way, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing well. I've got two. It's a little bit intimidating here being with two AT through hikers, two completers of the AT, but it's great to have you here. How are things in your world?
Pretty solid. Can't complain. Injury recovery is on the up and up. So
yeah, great. If is it okay if I share a little bit about your injury there?
Sure.
Great. So Wrong Way had all set up. She was a AT hiker, class of 21, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Class of 21. Then I met Madelyn on the CT when you were finishing it in 22. And then you planned and prepped for almost 2 years to do the CDT, and stress fracture bumped you off trail really early in the game. And a real bummer, and particularly a bummer because if there's anything we know about you is that you're capable of hiking huge miles, and then it's just sort of a freak overuse injury out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but hopefully next year.
Yeah. So what we're going to talk about a little. Oh, go ahead.
Do you have any sense of why that happened? Like, obviously you're a very experienced hiker. So do you think you were doing something differently or too much too fast or?
Literally, I couldn't tell you. Like, I did all the same stuff leading up to this trail that I did for the Colorado Trail and the Appalachian Trail. I think a lot of it is just that the beginning is very flat. So it's repetitive motion. Whereas like other trails, you're doing different things with different muscles in your feet and your legs. So that's my best guess.
Oh, such a bummer.
Yeah, it really is. And hopefully you'll be able to get back out there later. But I mean, it's been fun watching your recovery on Instagram. So if you aren't following Madelyn here, it's Madelyn Meanders, and just did a really great job of being very open and honest and vulnerable in different places about the recovery process and how difficult it is, and dealing with the disappointment that comes with having, this hike that was a dream for so long that you've worked on be delayed, and let's just say delayed, because that's what it is. It's just delayed. And so a real bummer, but fingers crossed, and you have been getting back out there, right?
Mm-hmm. Up to 4.5 miles, not to brag.
That's perfect. Yeah. I tell you, when I first started hiking, 4.5 miles would have been a lot. So we're going to bring back in, we're going to talk a little bit about here. This is the one piece of gear where I'm breaking the rule by 3 years. This is a bare canister that I'm taking on my hike. It is a Bear Vault 450, so it is one of their smaller versions. I have taken this bear canister on many different hikes, or taken Bear Vault canisters, even though I don't need them. And Madelyn, you take bear canisters even when you don't have to. You're not legally required. You're not like on the John Muir Trail or something. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, what's your thinking or philosophy behind carrying that bear canister?
So my take on food storage is that, like, safely storing your food is the best way that we can have like safe human and wildlife interactions. Right. There's been really increased bear activities on a lot of trails, whether or not they're requiring bear canisters or not. Like the Colorado Trail, we're seeing so much more bear activity than we used to in that area. And a lot of that is that people are not storing their food safely or correctly. Bear hangs used to be really effective, and bears are just getting smarter and more acclimated towards human presence. And they're intelligent animals. They know how to get food out of a bear hang. Yep. So I first got a bear canister. One of my first backpacking trips was in Yosemite, which does require a bear canister. But for me, I was just like, well, if this is the safest food storage that we are aware of, why would I not take that on every hike with me anyway? Also for me, I'm like a little bit lazy, and it's really nice for me to just kind of like put it up against a rock or a tree away from my campsite. And hilarious comment, unbearable. But I just think it makes it really easy to just sort of like stash your food and leave and not really have to worry about it. It's also like critter resistant. Like even if there aren't really bears in the area, your like mice can get your food out of a stuff sack. So I really like not having to worry about that. And to my knowledge, I tried to do a little bit of research about this. So like, don't fully quote me on this, but to my knowledge, it is, if not the only, at least like one of the only food storage containers that is certified by both the Sierra Interagency Black Bear Group and the Interagency Grizzly Bear Committee. So really safe way to store your food and not have to worry so much about wildlife interactions.
Yeah, and you know, this one is great here, that the danger isn't just in the typical sort of where you would expect it, but that would have been a bummer there to knock yourself out with a rock. Now, it is one of the things that I have heard that also the thing about bear canisters or bear bags is not only do they know how to take them down, that's why you can't use them in the Sierra, because bears who have never seen a bear hang know how to pull them down, because they've sort of taught the previous generations as well. Now, one of the things also is that if it's a soft-sided bear food container, even if the bear can't get into it to get the food, they still taste the food when they bite into it. So they still become acclimated. They still have that reward. And we've seen this at the base of Hope Pass, where there's a bear that has been shredding some soft-sided options out there. So I very much believe in this. The piece of history that I found out that was cool with this is that it was in 1977. It was a Utah State University professor was watching, I think it was a lion try to get into an ostrich egg, and thought this would be a great way to keep food safe. So came up with a bear canister. Obviously, it's not the clear polycarbonate. I believe it's polycarbonate. Bear Vault, please forgive me if that's not the correct one. But I decided I would break the rule by 3 years, because it is most important that we protect the animals, right? Ultimately, that's what this is about, is keeping those animals safe. Now, I wanted Audrey to stick around, because actually Audrey, what she does is she leaves out all of her food scraps to make sure that she has as many animal interactions as possible. So I just wanted to ask you why you think that's okay.
Okay, I don't actually do that, but here's a funny thing. When I was in Patagonia, they told you had to put your shoes inside your tent. Otherwise, the foxes would come after them. And I was very tempted to leave my shoes out because I like foxes.
Yeah. I mean, they will, it really is not the insects, the rodents are really an issue. And on the CT, there's a 32-mile stretch above tree line where you couldn't hang stuff anyway. And bears generally don't go that high generally, but you still have the rodent issue everywhere, and hantavirus is spreading. I don't know if it's in the Rockies yet, but it is an issue as well. Now, Madelyn is a Bear Vault ambassador, and so that's why I had her stop in for this one. We're going to give away 2 Bear Vault 475s. We did have a question here from Ruth asking why I went with the 450. And it's really just because I knew the weight was going to be so huge anyway, that I wanted to make sure that I could keep my weight low, not just by having a smaller bear canister, but requiring more stops in for resupply into towns, because that's a good way to make sure that your weight stays low. And your steps are going to go higher because you're going to have to get in and out of town. But it is what it is, right? So what do you say we give away a couple of bear vaults, everybody?
Let's do it.
Let me see if I closed up that window accidentally here. If you haven't already, go ahead and type in hashtag 5050 and you will be entered. Let me show that up here. Hashtag 5050. If you get it in there by the second or first drawing, then you will be included in this. And let's give away a bear vault or two. I'm excited about this one. I genuinely love those bear vaults.
I have 3 different sizes. So I am a huge proponent. I'm not even saying this because I'm a Bear Vault ambassador. I reached out to them. I love Bear Vault. I'm a huge fan. So.
Yep. I didn't show you all, but this is our winner here. I agree with you, Madelyn. I actually reached out to them specifically because I knew I was going to carry one, and they were one of the businesses that I talked to them for maybe an hour, and it was clear that as I talked about it, all the things I knew about bear canisters really convinced myself in a lot of ways that I would always carry a bear canister, because in our messages, you'd even mentioned that the weight was negligible given the protection that it gives. And I think that's spot on as well. So Christina Hikes and Stuff, congratulations on being our first bear canister winner. Let's give away one more. We are making some good ground, and then we're going to talk about some more of this vintage gear here, because we are doing great on time, everybody. Oh, Mo, there we go. Mo and I hiked together segment 22 and 23. That was the year that I met Patty, and he is just one of the funniest people. If you haven't met him yet, you need to meet Mo. So next time I have a meetup, you need to make sure that you're there so that you can meet Mo, everybody, because he's one of my favorite humans on the planet. So congratulations, Mo. I will be sending you that, and I will probably be stuffing it. I don't know, something hilarious. Maybe I'll just mail you a bunch of farts or something in a bear canister, and I don't know. There'll be something. Cool. Well, thank you, Madelyn. Thank you, Audrey, as well. We'll talk about some gear here, and Audrey, thank you for sharing the book and donating a copy of it. I'm really grateful for that, and Madelyn, for your time and energy here. I'm really grateful, and I hope people will follow you both on Instagram and Audrey on YouTube. There, I think a lot of people could learn a ton of stuff from both of you.
Fun on your big journey.
Yeah, thank you
I'm
so
excited
much.
to follow.
Fingers crossed it goes okay. Yeah, thank you both.
Okay, see you guys.
All right, let's talk about some other gear here. I'm real excited about this one. This is one of my, two pieces here that are really fun to talk about. Let's talk about this. Here's the deal is I reached out to Feathered Friends in Seattle. So Feathered Friends started making sleeping bags in 1972. Started making down sleeping bags using ethically harvested feathers from geese and ducks and such. And so I reached out to them and said, hey, I'd love to use one of your sleeping bags. Do you have one in the vault somewhere that you'd be willing to share? And Juna Gates, she's the daughter of the founder. She's now the person in charge. She said, you know what? We'll make you one. We'll make you a sleeping bag using only the materials that we used back in 1974. And they sent folks into the vault to grab the patterns from 1974. So this is the coolest. It is a brand new 1974 Feathered Friends sleeping bag. And then they also went to the vault and got the same. You can see it over Details shoulder here. The same with a down jacket. Now this is incredible. I mean, the amount of effort they again, none of these companies that worked with me had to do anything. They were just very generous with their time and energy. And also, Feathered Friends made a pretty generous contribution financially to the project as well. So if you haven't checked out Feathered Friends products, they are absolutely incredible. They make down comforters for your home. And when you order a product from them, they send you a card that will tell you where the ducks were raised. They will also send you the actual fill count. So when you get a jacket that's say 900 fill, it's not actually 900 fill. That means the minimum that it could be. So they send you one that will tell you it's 937 or 948. So it's really such a cool thing that they were willing to do for me. And Details are going to show off not just the zipper, but also the pockets on this jacket are really cool. There are no zippers. It's just sort of a flat system. Really thought that was cool. And to Ruth's point, yeah, it's amazing. I'm really, really grateful to them. It is absolutely epic. And then here, Jody, I agree with you. The Feathered Friends gear is just, I'm speechless to be able to use something that is this great, in line with the project, from the period, from a company I believe in. Patty and I have been using a down comforter from Feathered Friends for a long time. My 40th birthday present from Patty was a Feathered Friends sleeping bag. So I love their products from the get-go and couldn't be more grateful for their support throughout the course of this. And that's the flap here. So what Patty's showing off is it's not a mummy bag like we would see today on the mummy bag, the sort of hood. It's the flap there that is, I'm interested to see how that does here. Tim, you're absolutely right. That puffy is tremendous. They offered to send me either a vest or a puffy. They offered a hood. I told them I would go with the puffy because I had a vest from them already for my 40th, and then asked them for that without the hood because that wouldn't have been period correct for what they had done. Just really, really dynamite stuff. So, so grateful. If you haven't checked out Feathered Friends, please do check out their products. They are also going to host a screening of the film next year when it's finished. And so Juna at Feathered Friends, the whole team there, really grateful. Thank you for your contribution to the project and your support throughout the course of it. And just anecdotally, the amount of contact and willingness to stay in touch throughout the project was incredible from Feathered Friends. Their customer service has been dynamite. They are a really great product. And once you buy one of their sleeping bags, that's it for you. You don't need another one for the rest of your life. So it's really terrific from there. What do you think there, Details? What should we talk about next? Nalgene bottles. So we've got Nalgene bottles with the old iodine drops. I'm a little bit nervous about those iodine drops there because they will take 30 minutes to treat the water. So I anticipate there will be a little bit slower walking in certain places as I'm waiting to sort of reach that. Nalgene just celebrated their 75th anniversary. Ye old Nalgene to Salmon's point here. That's my wife. She's ridiculous. That's why I married her. And so really excited to take that. I really love Nalgene, particularly because if you don't know, you can fill an Nalgene bottle with hot water, put it in the bottom of your sleeping bag, and it will stay nice and toasty warm. The drops are going to be a whole different adventure. Not sure how that's going to go. To Rolf's earlier question, this might be one of the things that I end up needing to pivot from just to be able to finish the trail on time, in which case I might be able to still stick with like iodine drops or something of the sort. Melanie, welcome. You've missed absolutely everything. We were talking a bunch of trash about you earlier, but you're here now, so we will calm down on that. Melanie is a terrific hiker. She finished the CT the last time I was out there, or maybe the year prior. So Melanie, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. I remember I met Melanie, if you know the Colorado Trail, on the Collegiate West. We were hiking up to Cottonwood Pass, and there's this sort of awful climb going all the way up to the very top of the climb. And there was this woman up ahead carrying a massive backpack, and she was just clipping along, crushing it. And so I got to meet her there, and we had known each other from YouTube for a while. So I'm really grateful that you're here, and I'm glad I got to meet you on trail once upon a time. Let's take a look here at the flashlight. This one is, it's a heartbreaker. So this is a 1950s era Ever Ready flashlight. It is a chrome plasticky kind of situation. Takes D-cell batteries. It's very heavy, very stout. And Melanie won a pair of Eddie Bauer boots, according to Rolf. That is, and she has to re-hike the Colorado Trail using them. This flashlight is one of the things that I'm a little bit both excited about and nervous. I really love having the a lightsaber here. So this is one I'm excited about because it'll be interesting to sort of use it. But I am also a little bit nervous about just the ins and outs inside the tent when I'm setting things up at night or breaking them down. If you don't know, I often have a problem forgetting things. So the headlamp often helps me to just see what I'm forgetting. A little nervous about this one, but excited to try it out, to go back old school. My brother offered me one of those carbide miner's caps that has like the flame shooting out here. Here we go. I see what you did there. Massager too. A terrible, terrible, terrible joke. Let's talk about the stove here. Terrible meaning hilarious, by the way. This is the Optimus 8R stove. So this is a classic. It looks like a lunchbox. When you open it up here, it's got the little gas tank, the fuel tank, and then it pops out as you just saw there. And then there's a key on the side that you put in to use it to sort of use as a valve. I want to give a shout out here though to Elderberry. So Elderberry is a hiker. She is chipping away at the Colorado Trail. I believe she's going to finish up another huge chunk of it and be able to finish the trail as a segment hike next summer. And she gave me a new old stock, what they call new old stock rebuild kit for this stove. So if the stove gives me any grief, I will be able to rebuild it and make sure that it works throughout the course of the trail. And she also gave me a nozzle that will work with the pump that it takes to pressurize it if you're at elevation. And she let me borrow her. This here is the fuel canister with a pour cap to it. So got a lot of really cool stuff, and really grateful also to Elderberry for sharing all of this great gear with me so that I can make the hike as smooth as possible, given that I expect there are going to be some hiccups along the way as well. So let's talk here about the Bic lighter. So I will be taking matches, of course, because the stove requires a priming. So you put a little bit of fuel in a cup, you have to light that, and then you turn it on, and that's how it starts. But a Bic lighter, these were 1973, so I'll be able to take a small Bic lighter as well and still remain period correct in that window too. We're getting very close to the finish here, everybody. So I appreciate you sticking around. If you haven't clicked here yet, if you haven't added hashtag 5050, be sure that you go ahead and do that, because we are going to be giving away the tent in the next 15-20 minutes. This is a really cool tent. I'm really excited to I'm excited to show it to you. I'm a little sad to be giving it away, but really, really excited. This is Elderberry here. Thank you so much. I had just a great time. Also, when I was meeting with Elderberry today, she showed me some maps, and here's what's crazy is the Colorado Trail initially on the collegiate loop. If you know it now, you would have to make this sort of decision on the collegiate loop to go east or west at Twin Lakes. But the early days, at least up until 1989, the Colorado Trail went up Hope Pass, went down to, if you know the area, went down to the road that would lead you to Winfield, and then took a left past Vicksburg, then to the Clear Creek Reservoir. So this is a really exciting thing for me because I'll get to go up Hope Pass this year. It's a little bit of a bummer because Hope Pass, if you don't know, is what I consider to be the hardest hike on the trail. And then it'll immediately be followed by what I consider the second, third, and fourth hardest hikes, climbs on the entire trail. And so a little bit nervous about that one, but excited to be able to get that view. And so thank you again, Elderberry, for all your help with that. J3, thank you for putting this in. Just as a note, if you, you'll want to retype that in without the slash, because the program only picks it up if it's exactly like it is. And I want you to be able to be entered into that, the drawings for the future items here coming up here shortly. Here, we've got a person, we've got Crazy Navy Vet Hikes. He is currently in Lake City, I believe. Hope Pass is really, really cool. And he is just chugging along. And I agree with you that that is just such a great view. So let's take a peek here at some other gear. We have a Miro cook set. This one is apparently repurposed, or was sold from Girl Scout troop. So Girl Scout troop, somebody named Katie owned it once upon a time. It is just an aluminum stove. I'll share with you when I get back to Chicago. It has the, it has this wild, the box was really cool. And I had a sheet in it that told you how to care for the aluminum. So, the stoves, the pots I use currently, excuse me, have the nonstick, but this doesn't. But it had instructions for how you can make sure your food stays nonstick. And that, of course, is the pot holder for when I put it on the stove. I don't have to burn my fingers pulling it off there as well. Here, I'm sorry to hear that, Matthew. The mosquitoes, I guess that's probably, correct me if I'm wrong, Matthew, was that just before Twin Lakes or was it after? Because I think before Twin Lakes is pretty swampy. That it gets into some areas where the bugs could be pretty rough there too. Rod, that is really, really funny. Got it autographed. I hope Katie doesn't see this one day and angry that I took her cook set. But that one is really cool. I'm likely to only take one of the coffee cups in the pot and leave the plate at home and just basically make food that requires just boiled water. You'll know that that is basically the best way to go, is to minimize any of those different variables as well. I expect that to happen quite a bit. So here, the base weight, this one, I think the base weight, or my starting weight, is probably the only one that I really know. Before camera gear, I'm at about 32 pounds. And so it is certainly not light as well. But it's not as bad as I thought it would be. So that's kind of cool too. At the town here, goodness. Yeah, I guess there is. So there's the little pond there and the visitor center with the bathroom. I could see that being a place that where mosquitoes are, especially if the breeze isn't blowing through there. Jody, I am hiring a porter, a Sherpa, and his name is Snackbox. So I wish I had a Sherpa. That would have been something. We have just a few more pieces of gear. For rain protection, I'm going to be taking a poncho. This is, that's in your right hand right there. Just your basic poncho. We'll spare you all the details. You've seen ponchos 100 times before. There is, if the poncho doesn't work, the backup plan for that is an anorak jacket, which is sort of like a, it's almost cut like, if you remember the old starter jackets from the early 90s, it's like that, but just rain jacket material. And then here we have the, this is a moment I've been waiting for. This is my Fitbit watch, and I am officially turning it in for just your standard analog clock watch. So I will be sticking with this one. Fortunately, the Fitbit, it's not a huge sacrifice because I'm not going to be able to keep it charged the whole hike anyway. For my sleeping pad here, another shout out to Elderberry. She offered me a Thermarest from the early 70s that still holds air. When she passed it to me, I held it. She had taken such great care of it. It looked like it was almost off the shelf at REI, and I just could not, there's no way I could bring myself to actually use it. So instead I'm using this. It is an Eddie Bauer shooting pad. It's about 4 feet long. Smells musty as all get out. And yeah, so Detail says it's just one of those, what did you call it?
Essence of vintage.
Oh, it's the essence of vintage. So I will be shooting a whole, a whole clone commercial in the style of CK1 using my Eddie Bauer shooting pad. It's basically what you would use to sight in a rifle back in the olden days. And then closed cell foam pads were used before, long before. So I'll be taking a closed cell foam pad as well, just to make sure that I keep that beautiful sleeping bag from getting a whole lot of dirt and grossness on it. Salmon, you're exactly right here. It does have personality. And here, shout out here from Rolf. Shout out to Patty for holding down the fort while I'm out, breezing effortlessly in my Eddie Bauer waffle stompers and poncho. It is really genuinely, this wouldn't be possible without Patty in so many different ways. We do have 2 little ones, and so she made it possible for me to come out here. And so really grateful for that, obviously. And I will be forever indebted. Fortunately, she has stuck with me forever. And so, so I will be working this debt off the rest of my life. My backpack here is one of the coolest pieces of gear, and stay with us here, everybody, because we are giving away, the tent and a couple of resupply boxes when we finish with this piece, and we'll call it a day. So this is the JanSport D3 backpack. So the D3 backpack is their largest expedition pack from the early 70s. And the feature on it that's most interesting are those hip wings. And so what it does is it creates a sort of floating suspension on your hips. And quite honestly, it makes it very comfortable. I didn't expect this. I expected to be miserable and maybe have some soreness throughout, but it is in great condition. There are pockets everywhere, which is one of the things I think we've seen really move away. Now, one of the things about backpacks is they didn't have hip belts until the late 60s, really, and maybe even the early 70s, till they became popular, which is wild to me that people just carried all of that weight on their back. So this one is really cool. You can see it's got the giant pocket. It's got a flat surface there on the ring. And what that allows there is it allows you to put stuff on top of it. I think there, we'll see what ends up there on top for the long haul. I imagine the tent will go there so that I can pop it up early if there's some need for rain protection or something of the sort. Would you open up the side pocket to the other side? So even in the side pocket, they have a sort of shelving unit, which is pretty cool as well. And I'm going to bring in one of my favorite gearheads here. We're going to bring in Fireball, Dave, who I almost set on fire over there on the in the Great Smoky Mountains. Dave, how are you doing?
What's up, bud?
It's good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. How's the hiking world treating you this weekend?
It's all right, man. It's not bad. I don't have a lot of hikes planned, but I'm just here to support you, buddy.
I appreciate it, Dave. I figured you'd be the perfect person to talk a little bit about the gear here. And Dave has a YouTube channel, as many of us do. He is Dave Off Grid. Be sure you check him out. He makes really great videos in California, some other areas. He even flew out to Tennessee to backpack with a group of us. And I say he flew out to backpack with us. He coordinated the whole dang thing. So great to see you. Dr. Fireball here. Dave, do you want to tell the story real quick about the Fireball, and then we'll give away the last few prizes?
Oh, sure. Yeah, so Smokey's trip, going out, first time meeting you too, bud. And I think it was maybe the second night when we were out there, you were like, hey, can I try out your alcohol stove system? We ended up going and picking up some heat from some local, some local gas station or whatever. I think you were toting that the whole trip just in your side pocket there. And I was like, yeah, sure. So second night, cooking dinner and everything. He's like, all right, so I just put the fuel in here and light it up, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's the gist of it. And you're like, all right, I think I did it. So come on over here and let me know, did I do it properly? And I'm like, no, I think you need a little bit extra fuel in there. I don't think you have enough in there. So in true snack box fashion, he just pops the top off of the heat and throws a little bit extra on an open lit alcohol stove. And the angle of the heat was pointed directly towards me at the time. So the fire went straight up the fuel as he was pouring it out into the back of the bottle and literally like threw a fireball in my direction. So that's how I got my trail name, doing a matrix move to try and dodge getting lit on fire.
Yeah, to be fair, so my version of the story is that I said, Dave, it's already lit. And you said, it's fine, just put it on top. And so my version of the story is different. And it's also the true story. So we're going to stick with that one.
All right. Even if that's true, I mean, why would you think it's okay to just throw some extra fuel on there? That's all I got to say about that.
Heaven forbid I trust my friends, So here's what we're going to give away first. We've got a couple of resupply boxes from Backpackers Pantry. So Backpackers Pantry, I talked a little bit with Chris over at Backpackers Pantry, and he said that they would send along a couple of resupply boxes. And basically what it means is people will be able to choose a handful of Backpackers Pantry items and then have them sent out to them either at their home or on the trail somewhere. And so I'm really excited to give away a couple of those. So if you haven't already, be sure that you put hashtag 5050 in the chat there, and we will make sure that you are included in it. Once again, that's hashtag 5050 for the title of the project, 5050 on the Colorado Trail. What do you think, Dave? Are you pulling for anybody specifically?
Well, I literally just got this invite from you like 5 minutes ago. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll join the live stream. Why not? I'm looking through here. Salmon's always a cool dude. So I'm always rooting for him. But Brian already won. So there you go.
Yep. No, Brian won the last one. So I just have to restart.
Oh, you got to clear it out. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah.
I'm not giving Brian anything else. He has had enough, right?
Okay. As long as it's not Doc, right?
Brian's one of my favorite people. And Doc, if you all don't know, is he is a regular in our community, and he wins a lot of stuff. So let's go ahead and give away that first resupply box here. This one I'm pretty excited about, and it is Colorado-based company. There's some really cool history with Backpackers Pantry, where they started as a Girl Scout troop and sort of developed from there. So Tony, great to have you win this one. I believe I might have talked to you a little bit on the Facebook group there for vintage backpacking. So I'm really thrilled that you won this one. Let me just, as a reminder for everybody, if you do win something, please send your address over to Instagram at Backcountry Champion or at Backcountry Champion, and that's at Gmail. So send it on over so that I can make sure to get these off in the mail to you. And let's go ahead and give away the next resupply box from Backpackers Pantry here. Let me see what we got here.
Have you tried any of this stuff, Snack Box? Any good pieces in here?
Yeah, so there's a lot of good, so a lot of cool stuff. The Backpackers Pantry stuff is dynamite. We had, before you showed up, Suchata from Eco Everyday sent face cream that SPF 50 that is, I mean, genuinely terrific. And then some bug repellent that smells like a backyard picnic is the, she had described it that way and absolutely spot on. And then also the, the Bear Vault, the Lakey poles, a lot of great stuff that I've been able to use. Really yeah. Hey, there he is, Salmon.
There he is.
Yeah.
Called it.
Yeah.
So good mojo out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Salmon here, if you all don't know, be sure to check out his Instagram handle because he takes the most beautiful pictures in Canada. I mean, I actually, Patty's Christmas present last year, was it Christmas present or Christmas present was a print that he took of a bald eagle, and it was absolutely the coolest. It was just a shot of like bald eagle flying straight toward him. So be sure you check out his photography because it is absolutely phenomenal. And he has a storefront now where you can pick up your own prints as well. And so certainly well worth checking out Salmon's Instagram as well. Now let's talk here for just a minute. Dave, you're going to appreciate this one as a gearhead. The last prize, the big one of the day here, is a Sky Air ULT tent. And we had talked about this one a little bit here and there as a part of your Gearholics. So Dave hosts a Gearholics podcast, and we talk about all sorts of gear. And this was one I brought in for my perfect ultralight setup. And it is a super small, super light tent. Tell us a little bit about what you know about it now and how you what you think of the tent just based on what you've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any experience with it. I think I first heard about it from you here, but I think you had mentioned too that they're a part of more of the hunting game. So yeah, what I like about it is that it's modular, right? So you can buy all the pieces that you want here. You can go with the bug net or go without it. They have that little addition there and that main picture to the right there where you got that porch if you want to have a little bit more of a porch mode to it. And I've seen like one or two other tents that are kind of becoming popular with this style again. I mean, you have to do that front entry. I think that's probably the only downside to it. But other than that, super versatile and definitely UL for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Dave, that this one is just incredibly small. My understanding again is that it is, I saw it start popping up. There's a YouTuber who makes really beautiful films, Dan Stenziano, and he does a lot out in your neck of the woods in the Sierra. And I started seeing this tent in the background of all of his different hikes. And so I started looking into it, and it very much is marketed or has been historically to hunters, but it looks like they're branching out some. And it is modular, which I appreciate because you can get just what you need, nothing more, and you can have the whole thing sort of set up. So just to give you some sense here, this is my iPhone, right? And this is the vestibule. So that's how big this thing is, right? That's the vestibule, that sort of door feature that you can see in the picture on the nose, right? And then the footprint here, again, that's my iPhone. It's tiny. It's absolutely tiny. I think the whole set is, I mean, it's just ridiculous how small it is. And then this guy here, now you do need your own stakes and trekking poles for it to work. But all told, it's $330 for the 3 pieces. If you decide you want a bug net, then you can pick one of those up. But I think it's a really, really terrific tent, and it will really serve people well. It does have the front entry, which, as you know, as a fellow hiker of graybeard nature, right, can be a little bit of a bummer to, have to climb in and out of that at night. But for the weight savings, it's just absolutely worth it from there. So what do you think? Should we give away a tent, Dave?
Let's do it.
All right.
I love giving away stuff that isn't mine.
You're right. Right. All right. Let's do it here. I'm very nervous and very excited. Here we go.
I'm going to say Melissa on this one if she hasn't won already.
I think
she's usually pretty lucky too.
Yeah, I think she won something. She won starboard tack here. So I'm guessing it's probably a sailor here of some capacity. Congratulations, starboard tack. Just to give you a reminder for everybody, please be sure to email me your address at Backcountry Champion. I'll be doing my best to get these out to you as soon as possible. Some of the products may take a little bit longer, so please be patient, but also we're going to get that out to you. Dave, I appreciate you popping in on short notice. It's great to see you, especially a fellow gearhead. I appreciate it, man.
Of course, man. Anytime. And best of luck on the trail, man. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Once again, that's Dave Off Grid. Check out his stuff. He does really great gear reviews, lots of great stuff out in Southern California. Well worth watching that YouTube channel. Really cool stuff. So I appreciate it, Dave.
Thanks all.
All right, we've got our last, well, we don't have any last giveaways here. Let me wrap this one up. We're going to say some goodbyes. So I want to just say thank you to all of you all, everybody who's here. I can't tell you how much it means to have the support of you all. I was thinking this week that I would do a sort of an Instagram video and just say thanks individually to folks. And I realized that there was no way I could get them in the minute that Instagram gives us. So I have every intention of sending out thank you cards to all of you who have contributed to the project in some way, shape, or form. I'm so very grateful for you and for this community. I'm thrilled to know you all. I'm thrilled to have you here. Thank you again. Follow the project at Backcountry Champion on Instagram. I'll be posting as many updates as I can. It's also 50/50 on the CT.com. You can check it out there. And then I better put that up here, huh? And then when the film comes out, it'll be coming out hopefully sometime in the spring. We'll get it out and you'll be able to check it out. We'll maybe do a screening or something of the sort. So again, thank you all so very much. Hope you have a great time out on trail. Let me check the comments here. I want to say thanks to my brothers. I've at least 2 of my 3 brothers here. Jimmy, thank you so much. I'll do my best to come back with some sideburns. Thank you again, Whitney. Thank you, Salmon. Thank you, Discorded. I appreciate you, Melanie. Thank you for coming out. Rolf, Rose. It goes on and on. The best problem a person can have in this world is having too many thank yous to give to be able to do it in time. So again, thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for your support. Happy hiking, everybody. And I will see you on the other side when I finish this bad boy. Thanks, everybody. And thank you, Patty.